And I thought, holy, this is it. It's the end. It's the end. This is the talk. This is the talk at 6 months.
Boy, was it
It's
the end.
It always happens at the 6-month mark. What WTF?
Did you push record?
And we're back. Thanks for tuning in again to Second Act TV. Joining me again is Treva Brandon Scharf and Robby Scharf, the hosts of Done Being Single with Treva and Robby. Thanks so much for joining me again.
You're very welcome, Sonia.
Oh, for a minute I thought we didn't have any audio, but we do.
You're here.
Well, we just finished several segments with Treva and Robby, in addition to ones that are already out there on YouTube. We will link to all of them because you're not going to want to miss it, especially if you're out there after 50 looking for love again, which is Treva and Robby's specialty. They met after 50 online. And they've been through the trenches, they've been through the war, they've been through the love, and have wonderful advice and to give to those of us looking for love after 50. So on this segment, one of the big questions, especially for women, and maybe I'll ask Robby if men think that way, I think this is more women, is how do you know that you're in a relationship? How do you go from being single to being a couple, having that talk, the exclusive talk? What kind of advice, input can you give us on that?
Well, I think the first question is, how do you know when you're in a relationship, is when you have pared down the various people that you are communicating with online to one person, where you've been able to eliminate, 3 others. I was never a very good juggler anyway. So if I was communicating with a couple people simultaneously and went out with 1 or 2 and enjoyed one, that was the one that got my focus and attention.
Well, you bring up a really good point. Let me just add that in. 30 years ago or so, especially for those of you who were in a long-term marriage, haven't dated for a while, you guys kind of dated. You came along this revolution of online. You maybe were part of it. But all of a sudden, there's a whole lot more to dating and letting go of everything else. You're communicating online with people. You have a profile up. How do you handle all that? So thank you for bringing that up. I definitely want to talk about that in this segment as well.
Well, I think that it's a dual-edged sword, obviously, because I think that people today are so glued into their social profiles, and they can't wait to get home from whatever it is they're doing, whether it's work or other activities, and see who's liked them, see who swiped them, see who I can communicate with, who I'm interested in today. And they may be carrying on 6 different relationships with 6 different people that they just met or have been communicating with over the past few weeks. And this is an attraction and almost an addiction that I think would be really hard to break. For one person to come through and be that one person they're going to date and eliminate the other 5, it's got to be a real difficult thing for, I think, men and women, because that ego gratification is so constant and sudden and consistent that why would I want to eliminate those people? I like what this person has. I like what this person has. I like what. How do I find one person in all of this? So that, to me, is I think a challenge today that luckily we don't have to have, but I think other people do have.
Even without technology and online dating, it's still the same. I mean, just because there's online dating, I mean, things were this way before online dating. You were dating, before apps and whatnot. You were dating however many women at the same time.
I think it was tougher because it involved calling them up,
right?
Talking to them. We're not talking about people that are having conversations daily. I think we're talking about emailing, texting, direct messages, whatever is online, which is so easy and lazy, and all the negative things that have become approved.
Yes.
And that is unfortunate. That is now an approved way to communicate with somebody that you're meeting online.
But what I'm saying is that when you found the one that you liked, you cleaned house, right?
Yes.
Right. So same thing. Nothing's changed.
And there was a funny moment with a past girlfriend that I had met, actually not online, but we both had profiles, and I was an early charter member of Match.com from like the 80s. And so they never charged me. And she saw my profile was up there, and we were dating like 4 months or so. And she said, "All right, time to get rid of this." I said, "Huh? I'm not even on it." And she goes, "Yes, you are. I see." And so I said, "Oh gosh, no,
Not
I,
cool. Not
I didn't
cool.
want to do that." And so, but she made me do it in front of her. The relationship ended a day or two later.
Oh my God.
And I could not get back my charter membership, and I was so bummed. So lesson learned, and I don't know what the lesson is. You should be able to hide your profile or something, but don't eliminate it until you're sure you're with somebody you want to be with.
Yeah, I feel the same way about social media, following and friending. I'm not a big fan of friending someone you're dating.
Mm-hmm.
Is that wrong? I just think it's awkward and weird when you break up.
Yeah, because then you have to unfriend.
How do you not become a social friend of that person if you're dating them?
At some point, you friend them.
Don't you do that like the first date?
No, absolutely not. Oh God, no.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that.
No.
Yeah.
Don't friend someone so fast that you're dating, because you just don't know. You don't know when it's and don't change your relationship status, for crying out loud, so fast.
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. It's just getting out of it is so damn awkward. It's extricating yourself from it that is yuck. So don't be in a hurry. Who cares, by the way? And if you're looking and stalking and trolling, then there's something wrong with you.
But you are a looker and a stalker and a troller.
No, I am not.
Yes, you are.
Not you.
No, well, yes, you'll Google, huh?
What are you talking about? I never stalked or trolled or any guy I was dating. No, I didn't.
But
you know why? I'll tell you why. Because I didn't want to torture myself. Hello? Why do that to yourself? I mean, you're just...
Well, and this is something that's totally different now. We didn't have this 30 years ago. Unless we literally hung out with binoculars in front of your.
Just make it easy for yourself. Simple. Keep it simple. Not too much social media activity until it's a thing.
But when you're into somebody and you're trying to learn who they are and you have mutual friends, why would you not want to friend them and see their pictures and their histories and
in time?
In time, would agree. Yeah.
Time. What's the hurry?
I'm kind of just bringing it up as a conversation topic.
So,
well, so then how do you bring up the talk, the exclusive talk? I mean, do you first get rid of, like, clean stuff out, or do you have that talk and then decide whether you're going to get rid?
Well, the talk to me is, if you have to have the talk, the end is there.
That's interesting what you just said, and I think you said that in your article too. If you have to have the talk, then you already know what the answer is. Mm-hmm. But you also have to, some of the advice is like before you have sex, before you become intimate, do you not want to know where the relationship is? You don't want to do it afterwards.
Okay, so some stuff is just it's just instinctive and sort of intuitive, and I think and I'm a big believer in that, and that just go with it, just feel it and do what feels intuitively right, and there's no need to define and label things too soon. It kind of takes all the spontaneity out of it. You'll know when you're ready to get intimate with someone. You kind of know when that person, you feel that they're exclusive and that you want to be exclusive with them. Do you need to really sit down? I've had to sit that guy down and say, "Yo, what's up? Where you at, dog? What's going on?"
So it's basically an ultimatum driver. You are driving this to a point where it needs to come to a head, and we need to find out what's happening. Where are you at?
Yeah, it's the most.
I don't know where you're at. I don't get a sense of. I don't know where you're at.
It's so demoralizing. It's just horrible. But you get your answers.
You get your answers. Unless now, what happens if the guy also wants to have the talk, but isn't sure how to approach the talk. So you both kind of come to this.
Then beautiful.
It work. That might work then.
Yes, but usually it's not that way.
But you're not saying assume that you're exclusive, are you?
No. Well,
You are exclusive.
there's signs.
If you haven't, because what, like I know in my current relationship, I mean, I didn't have it like sit down. We have to have a talk. I basically said, based on where we are in our relationship, where we've evolved to, it's not okay for you to see somebody else.
And yes, and I would say that's a perfectly logical and self-loving thing to do.
Yeah, it's like if I'm not enough for
Absolutely.
you, then you need to let me know.
No,
Okay, so-
that's a good exception.
That's a different talk.
That's a different talk.
Boy, that's a different talk than what I'm thinking. Also.
Okay.
That's a more of a talk that you have early on in a relationship when you have decided to be exclusive with each other.
Yes.
The talk that I think that we were talking about is a stagnant relationship that is not progressing. It is staying in one area, and one party wants it to get to, is it marriage? Are we moving in together? Where is this going?
Okay.
And I think that's the talk that I think is more relevant to couples than the exclusive talk, personally.
Yes. Usually, in my experience, it's one person pulling the other along, and that's when you have to sit down and go, what are we? Where are we going? Do you want a relationship? And all those things.
And that's when Trev has always
And-
felt that it's the end. That's the end.
Because maybe do you think, Treva, that you're bringing some, I won't call it baggage or history to the table, and I think of myself this, because of your experiences and so much rejection that when it comes to that point, you anticipate the worst?
I do. I go to the
course.
worst possible case.
The worst.
Yeah, which I
do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I did with Robbie when we were talking about moving in together.
Oh, yeah. And she thought I was going to break up, and I actually
And
proposed.
I said
That's
to
when
him,
I proposed.
we were having talk. He said, we've been dating 6 months. I live in downtown LA. You live on the West Side. Why don't we move in together and save the commute and some money? And then I said, oh my God, I'm so flattered. And no one's ever asked me to move in with them before. It was like a big, huge moment for me.
I should have run then.
And I said, thank you. But I'm going to need something a little bit more formal, or I wasn't asking for a ring. I didn't say, you can put the ring on it. But I needed something a little bit more like reassuring that in order for me to give up, and believe me, it took a lot of work to accept my singleness at 50. I was like, I did a lot of work that this is who I am. I'm never getting married, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So in order for me to give up my single life and everything that I'd built and my nice little apartment and blah, 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 I'd have to have a little bit firmer commitment. And he got up from the conversation, and I thought, he went off into another area of his loft. And I thought, holy, this is it. It's the end. It's the end. This is the talk. This is the talk at 6 months.
Boy, was it the end.
It always happens at the 6-month mark. What WTF? And I thought, we're done. And I was expecting to leave and say goodbye because that's what I was used to, but it didn't happen that way. But it wasn't a talk. But the talk, I didn't say to him, where are we going? It's been 6 months. I didn't care.
I got a different
That
message from
was-
what she was saying.
That to me was the difference, in that I was perfectly fine going along the way we were going. I took marriage off the table. And so there were no expectations, but I just have a little PTSD.
I think a lot of us do. And again, for the people watching us, for our listeners, and please leave us your questions and comments. As you can tell, Treva and Robby are very transparent on all this stuff, and we'd love to have you chime in and what questions do you have that we can do future shows on that's really important. But I think maybe again we're in closing this out, perhaps I mean, I think it's important that the what you want from the relationship, that is stated, that it's not, we don't assume, we don't guess, we don't think we're in a relationship. And maybe it's not about, what do you want, but it's, again, here's what I want. Here's really what, I really like you. I love you. I can see me being, and what I want from a relationship is this.
Yes. So, which is great because you advocate for yourself.
Taking control.
And taking control.
So you would agree with that?
Yes, but be prepared. You got to be equipped. If you're going to have the talk, you have to go into it from a place of strength. And what you want, knowing what you want, asking for what you want, not the other way. You have to, otherwise you're going to feel pitiful and pathetic and without any power. So yeah, you got to stand up for yourself. You've got to get your answers. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay, and hold on a second. And be prepared to be proactive and make a move yourself if you do not get the response that you want.
Be prepared to walk.
You have to be prepared to walk.
For sure. And be okay with that.
Because if you stay with it after establishing what it is you want and that's not coming back at you, then you've given up all your power and control to a guy that is who now knows, well, I'm not giving you what you want and you're still here. So, it's a bad situation, I think, to stay in. And I think many women don't leave. They stay after expressing what their needs and desires are. And that's where a lot of issues are going to happen.
It's a complicated topic, that so many of us are dealing with. And thank you again so much for taking the time to sit down with me today. I will link all of our segments together, link to your information, to your podcast. You have some great articles too, Treva, that address some of the topics that we discussed today. So anyway, lots of resources for you out there. Anything else you want to say in closing before I let you go today?
I do. Do you?
No.
Okay. I just want to say one thing because I know your listeners are probably of a certain age.
Yes.
You don't have to listen to a single thing we said. I mean, you don't have here's how I feel about what we provide. Take what you like, leave the rest. Okay? We are not the last word. We're a good word, and I think we are an experienced word, and I think that we walk the walk. We were, as you said, in the dating trenches. And I'm going to accept my moniker as dating expert. I am. Robby does not, because I dated so much. I made so many mistakes. I learned so much about myself. It all meant something. Okay. So if you do something for 50 years, I'd like to think there's some you do have some expertise. Okay. Are we totally right on everything? No. With that said,
Treva's been dating since she was 7 years old.
Boy, crazy in nursery school. I knew my power back then. All right. What I'm trying to say is, nothing's written in stone. And the beautiful part of being this age is that you can make your own rules. You don't have to, do what you want and feels right for you, but just don't be stupid. I think that's what we're trying to say. We try to help people, stop people from saving, themselves from themselves.
Absolutely.
That's what I want to say. So this is a beautiful time. If you are single, if you're not single, it's a great time to be who you are and love who you are and just say to the world, if you have to.
And on that note, thank you so much again. I look forward to having you back soon, and we'll see you again on our second act with Paige and Silka. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thank you.
If you haven't already done so, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. The button is right over here. Just click on through to YouTube, and when you see that little bell right next to the subscribe button, hit that too. You'll be notified every time we launch a new video. See you next time.